This is proof that we're living in a simulation, because this breaks the game. Zero effort. Zero effort. Again, I have no idea what I'm doing.
Well, a scope makes it easy, but you were doing it with the freaking... Before the scope, you were doing it with irons, and it was awesome!
No, yeah, it's...
He's cheating!
I wasn't even looking!
He's cheating! Well, this just showed up in the P.O. box, and it's a lot smaller than I was expecting. I wish he'd stop saying that. But there's a clue that what's in this package should be amazing, because right here, you see that? Yes, that's my favorite designer in the hobby, and it's not even a close call. I have loved every single thing ShanYe has ever made, and I am so fortunate thanks to Phantom Toys that I now get the chance to experience this stuff. Will it be better than my Awaken? Maybe, but even if it is, it's gonna be a close call, and the Awaken is still literally my favorite Nerf blaster of all time. Henshin! How about you guys get to see it before I do, because we're gonna give you the money shot, some tools, some grease, some O-rings, all the good stuff, a little orange B-car, a bunch of packing peanuts, and of course, that grip. I'm gonna need a minute. And lots of little parts here. Rails and what looks to be dart holders. So this blaster is known as the GrainRain, which is cool because that's a name I can actually pronounce. But this is a 3D printed, well, it does something that no other blaster I've ever seen has done. Just looking at this thing, it's quite the enigma. Now, very clearly, this blaster is designed to be one thing and one thing only, and that is basically an Olympic competition pistol. It's got the big, comfy grip with the really good ergonomics. It's got such a light, nice trigger. Carbon fiber bars here, some kind of twisty thing. I don't actually know what that does. I have no clue what that is. That like does that change like the velocity? Oh my gosh, if that actually does do that, I will, ooh. You've even got a trigger block safety. That's awesome. This little guy is known as a B-car, or bearing centering auto rifling. Basically, it has roller bearings in there that kind of gives it a twist, so as the dart leaves the barrel and enters this muzzle, then exit it, it gives the dart a spin, thus stabilizing it in flight, like rifling. We're just gonna put that on the end right here to comply with YouTube safety regulations. I love how deep, oh my gosh. There's a feeling that I can't quite describe, where it's like, it's a natural extension. I can't wait to accuracy test this thing. So it looks like we have the option up front here for either dart holders or rails. I'm gonna go with dart holders since side rails don't really do a whole lot for me right now. And I know, you're probably sitting there thinking, how the heck does this thing work? Because it doesn't look like it would. Is there a game out there that actually lets you use like a competition pistol as a weapon? I know I'm not the only one that's ever thought about it. So up here at the front, we've got a standard 16mm outer diameter barrel, so this will work with any kind of B-car as long as there's just enough barrel there for it to make a seal. Fiber optic front post right here. In the back, we do also have fiber optic rear posts on top of this angled Picatinny rail. Don't forget there's also a Picatinny rail up here at the front. You've got a nice knuckle guard right here. Trigger, safety. The safety has ball bearing detents in it, so it makes a satisfying click. And then what is probably the most important, where this is your actual prime. So to prime our GrainRain, we just pull that back. And I don't know if you realized exactly what happened when I did that, but it was pretty much like magic. And yes, that does mean that this blaster is a single shot breech loader. We just put our dart right up in there, close our breech behind it, and this is the thing I'm most excited for. How is the trigger? That is a hair trigger. That is the single nicest trigger I've ever felt on a foam dart blaster. This is better than what I got with the Awaken and better than what I got with the Javelin Max. Whoa, jump cut, next day. I've spent some time with it now. So by now you've seen how this blaster works, but you actually know how it works, because it doesn't make sense. The answer is both incredibly simplistic and utter genius. So very obviously it's a direct prime pullback blaster, much like a Nerf Fire Strike or a Night Finder. There's actually a locking catch on this that you activate by pulling this back. So this is locked forward until you actually grab this and rip it. But that in itself is very interesting because the plunger tube and spring and everything are located in the grip. So how does that direct prime pullback cock the blaster? This blaster uses a string tether that is connected to the plunger tube, so when you pull it back, it actually runs the line all the way through the blaster to this priming grip. Kind of like a way more complicated Buzzbee double shot. That does bring up some concerns that we will get to, and what this knob right here does is actually tension the string more, which does affect your actual velocity because that affects how far down the plunger gets pulled. Lowering table. So right now we're at the very minimal setting, and I will be using Adventure Force Pro Darts. 159.4, 161.2, and 143.7. And now we just max out that line. 182.5, 185.3, 186.2. So yeah, pretty freaking powerful. And while the velocity may not be the highest thing ever, the one thing the GrainRain does better than pretty much anything else is accuracy. There's a lot of factors that go into how accurate a foam dart blaster can be. And when it comes to nerfing, well, the biggest hurdle is gonna be your darts. You pretty much need to have the best possible darts. These are not the best possible darts. And yet the GrainRain will still demolish a target with them because it's been perfectly tuned to do that. But of course, ergonomics matter a lot, and this thing is exceptionally comfortable. And the trigger. That is probably the most defining feature about this blaster, is the hair trigger. It is not common to find a blaster of this velocity that you can activate the trigger with a dart head. And don't get me wrong, the sights on this thing are beyond excellent. But I mean, why wouldn't I put an LPVO on my Nerf blaster? And of course, a bipod for, you know, when I get the chance. And this blaster still works perfectly fine with all of this. But just how good is it? All right, so I have been testing this thing against the physical E-shooter targets, but I haven't tested it against the gunpowder SMTs yet. I have a feeling at this range, it's gonna chew through it. The darts I'm gonna be used this time are the Bamboo X2 darts from Dart Zone because they're the freshest darts I have. But of course, if that upsets you for some reason, you're more than welcome to support the channel by sending Nitro Shot Plus darts to the PO box. All that stuff's down in the description. It's a great way to support the channel because I go through darts like none other. So, just for funsies, let's see what happens when I point this at a target. Yeah, alrighty. First run ever. Let's see where we're at. Looks like a little high and to the right. So I'm gonna aim a little down and to the left. $99. I think that's the highest score we've ever gotten on that. And I think I can do better. Let's go for a second run, but let's take out one of the physical targets for good luck. Yeah, let's take out two of the physical targets. It's gonna bother me if they're not all green. All right. I've never seen triple digits on that. I got 3 9s in there. I think I could do a flawless run.
Ready.
Should have quit while I was ahead. So some of you might be thinking that's not a good enough challenge. So why don't I scoot farther back, which is gonna be awful because the rest of this was never meant to see on camera, but let's freestand and let's see exactly what we can do from an obnoxious ways away. So now we're more than double the distance away. The bipod kind of works like a good counterweight now, which should hopefully help us. It's not science if it's not repeatable. All right, I don't know how the target test is gonna go, and this is gonna be a little bit interesting because of course this score will not be comparable to other scores I've done.
Ready.
But let's find out where we have to hold it and compensate for dart drop. That bullseye is a 1/2 inch normally, so from back here, it's actually pretty gnarly. 70. And now that I've had the warm-up, let me try one more time. Hit the E-shooter target for good luck. Ah, 69 giggity. Still, that was an absolute banger of a score from this far away. This is more than double the usual testing range. The GrainRain is utterly psychotic in how accurate it is, and it would only get better with newer, higher quality darts. Yeah, this thing is incredible. Not only is it super fun to use, but it is probably one of the best match grade style blasters I have ever seen. I'm not saying it's impossible for me to get better scores with other blasters. I don't do like the ultimate most scientific testing ever. There's supposed to be the randomness of the human element, because let's face it, that's the real world application of these blasters. I try to keep the variables at a minimum though. Outside factors like wind, humidity, even elevation can affect the accuracy of the dart just due to things like how the foam reacts to the world. If it's too hot, the foam is squishier. If it's too cold, the foam is harder. It's not very airy. Higher humidity affects how the foam seals in the barrel. So always try to test your blasters before taking it to a game. I know myself, I have had tons of problems with blasters that worked fine one day, put it in my car, drove the next day to the place, and it didn't work at all. But I am comfortable saying I don't think there's a single other blaster in my arsenal I would rather use for precision shooting. Even with this full setup here, it is extremely quick, accurate, and smooth. But it is a handmade 3D printed blaster. Of course, you could customize these things to any color scheme you want when you get one. I preferred this color scheme because it looks sick and I have nothing else like it. But this blaster is far from something I would recommend to everybody. It has a specific niche, and you have to be the kind of person like me that just has a weird love for competition Olympic air pistol shooting. Could you use this thing in a Nerf battle? Of course you can. It only takes one dart to tag somebody out. It would be effective, but it would also be a really good challenge. Between myself, Anthony, and even my wife, who was able to use this thing to hit the physical targets every single shot, just didn't want to be on camera, unfortunately. If you want to see her do stuff like that, even though she's not really a Nerf head, let her know down in the comments below. There is a concern of mine that because this thing uses like a string line to prime the blaster and even affects its velocity because of how far down it can pull the plunger tube and compress the spring, which is really wacky. I kind of want to know how the catch in this thing works. I do believe that could wear out over time. I assume ShanYe has tested it, but I would make sure after every single time I use it, it is de-primed. You do not want to leave this thing primed, and also that you back off the string adjustment all the way and put it away. The previous version of this used a rubber belt, and yeah, apparently those are failing. I've only had it for a couple of days, but this blaster has been more tested than practically anything else in my arsenal. When I can hand it to a complete novice that doesn't even do regular shooting, let alone Nerf stuff like Anthony, and he can nail the target every single time without trying, show him how it's done.
Yeah, let's see.
So this is coming from a, what? Left eye dominant, never uses anything.
Right?
Already knew how to use pistol sights and to even explain it, which was weird.
Yeah.
You freaking monster.
Like, this thing is friggin' just, it's basically perfection. Like, even a complete, you know,
what the heck?
Again, like a complete novice idiot. You know, I don't even play shooter games. And it's
with iron sights!
Yep.
People are like, oh, it's not far enough away. He's only 30 feet back. That's not far enough.
Oh my god.
They can see where the table is where I normally shoot.
Yeah.
We're
versus
triple the way back.
Yeah. And just like,
oh my gee, I gotta.
I put zero effort into that.
So, this is where I'm gonna look bad. Oh. I mean, I can do longer. That's my hair. You don't have hair.
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna switch it up. We've been abusing that middle target.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
But again, like
the best.
Mid conversation, don't even have to think about it. Just,
it's the best.
yeah.
It's literally the best, most accurate thing I've ever used.
Right?
We put a scope on it because, heck yeah.
Because
and we actually sighted it in. Oh, you're just showing off the thing I showed you. That's not fair. I did it first. I'm the internet cool guy.
Yeah, well, it's on record that I'm doing it. So, It's your word against record.
I love, like, the little kids in Discord that tell me, like, oh, he shoots so close because he's bad at it. And it's like, no. It's because it's fun, and this is more fun. Also, it's, like, entirely possible. Like, I can't even get an angle. I have to, like, stand on this table. Trying to record this.
Zero effort. Zero effort. Again, I have no idea what I'm doing.
Well, the scope makes it easy, but you were doing it with the freaking... Before the scope, you were doing it with irons, and it was awesome!
No. Yeah, it's...
He's cheating!
I wasn't even looking!
He's cheating! It's the best blaster we've ever used! I've already filled the bunch of it. I was like, oh, the Waken, that's gonna be the thing that's better.
This is proof that we're living in a simulation, because this breaks the game.
Good frickin' job, Anthony.
Thank you much.
Do I like it more than the Awaken? They are both incredibly fun and incredibly effective blasters in their niche. And I don't know if I could pick between my two children now. But I think I've had a lot more fun in this kind of different shooting style with the GrainRain over the Awaken. So if you've ever had a want or need for this kind of setup on your blaster, I can highly recommend the GrainRain, but everybody else, don't worry about it. This isn't gonna replace your Harrier, this isn't gonna replace your Kunlun, but when I have the option to use a scoped pistol in a video game that's actually still good, I will use and abuse it. I will dunk on kids all day with it. And that's what the GrainRain is. It's balanced around its insanely good accuracy by having a lower rate of fire. It's built from the ground up to do one thing and do it exceptionally well, and for that, I commend it. Unless I change the testing distance on my range, every single other blaster is gonna have to try to compete with the GrainRain.